All right, everybody, welcome to the channel. I want to go over something quite interesting today, and I'm going to try to break it down in the most simple way so we all can understand it, and we can really put it in a sort of tangible context for ourselves. So I want the topic of today to be on the true twin flame and the nature of duality, because these things are very interestingly correlated, and often in the spiritual community, what we're calling the twin flame is not what it actually is. So what we call the twin flame and what people look at it as now is a sort of like, it's your perfect match, your perfect partner. It's somebody that is the other side of your soul, right? They're like the completion of you, your other half. And I want to talk about why it's a mistake to view reality that way. Okay, so first off, I'm going to start with a 0 and a 1, or a curved line and a straight line. Okay, this is the fundamental basis of reality as we know it. Curved line and a straight line, the 0 and the 1, because it is through the combination of these two things that you could create an entire reality. All right, and when you put these two things together, this is the same as, say, positive and negative. When you put the two charges together, you get a functioning circuit. Current moves, energy moves through it. So it's the same with these. When we have the combination of zeros and ones, even in computers will run on binary. Well, they'll take zeros and ones and combine them in certain sequences that make certain code. Now this can relate all the way down to our genetics and the makeup of our DNA and how our brain is even processing information. It's through these zeros and these ones. Now when we combine these opposite principles is when we get inception or conception. When it comes to relating this to the masculine and the feminine, we combine the two opposite counterparts. Now here's where this gets a little bit tricky, because like I said, people often view the twin flame as it's your perfect counterpart, is the other component to your soul. Now, there's some truth in this, but essentially, if I were to break it down like this, say this is a soul that is whole. You have all of it already, and then I draw the straight line through the middle, right? You have both components within this. The circle is split into two, but what people often view the twin flame as is, let's say this, and I just erase one side of it. They think they're only half of the spectrum. Now on a physical level, that's very true. But when it comes to recognizing the soul and recognizing your own wholeness, as it will be, it's to realize that because we have the ability to manifest and create, we actually hold both components within us. Now our body, through our body, there is a field that is taking place, and the energy is coming up through here, and it's fattening out over the top. Now this is called a torus field. It is electromagnetic, and forgive me if I get this backwards, but within it you have, say, a positive charge, and without it, let's say you have a negative charge. And it is the combination of these two things that actually create the gravity around it. It's what actually brings things to us, so long as this component is done right. But that proves that we actually are both components at the same time. So what we often find is people get in a trap of thinking that they're this half and they need to find, say, another half somewhere to complete them. So if you're thinking that you need something outside of you to complete yourself, like you're only one or half of these components, then what you're doing is you're fragmenting your consciousness. And what you're going to end up attracting is somebody else that is only a fragment of themselves, that thinks they are broken, that thinks they are a half, and thinks that they could connect with another half and it's going to complete them, and they're going to be completed, and that's when they're going to have their power. That is the trap, my friends. It's when we recognize that we already have the power to manifest and to create. We already have the power as an individual to manifest and create. We recognize that we are already the whole. We have the component of both the 0 and the 1 within us. And when we recognize that literal wholeness, where we've taken the parts and we've pieced them back together, that our soul is, what we end up attracting is another version that is whole. Now, I know there's a lot of people that you might see out there that say, oh, I've found my true twin flame. They're like my true, like we're the same being, we're the same soul. I'm not going to deny that. But what I am going to say is when someone finds that connection truly in their life, what it is more like, rather than these two halves coming together and coming a whole, it's two wholes mirroring back to each other, that they're both completed. Because you're only going to attract what you are. As in this field that's going to be circling around our body, the torus field, it's going to be bringing in and attracting that which we are. Not that which we want, not that which we think we want, but if you think you're fragmented, if you think that you're incomplete, if you think that you're not already it, then what you're going to do is only be attracting things that are going to mirror that experience back to you. And this is where people fall into that illusion. Like, oh, I met my twin flame, but it just didn't work out. Yeah, it just didn't happen, but we know this and we know that. That's because your consciousness is still in a state of being fragmented, in a state of being incomplete. And so it needs that other being to bring it into completion. I promise you, though, if you actually recognize the completion within yourself and recognize that you held both the 0 and the 1 within you on a level that you might not even be able to comprehend, but when you know how to put them together, you know how to put the hot and the cold together to make steam, so to speak, you recognize the power that you truly are. And when you recognize the power that you truly are, that's a specific frequency. And that specific frequency is going to yield that wholeness that you already are, because you are already that creator being. It's from a place of wholeness that we attract others that reside also on that frequency. That's when you could find what I'd call the true twin flame, because it's you. You are the true twin flame. You are your own perfect match, looking in the mirror to try to find that sense of wholeness. It's only when we turn the mirror back on itself that we get the full circle, we get the full picture. And when we have that sort of energy going on, what is inside of you is completion. It is wholeness. And therefore, what you're going to attract from the outside are going to be things that reflect that completion and that sense of wholeness. Okay? So it is important that we see through the illusions that have been presented to us, because this is a society that just rewards being fragmented. It rewards finding the things on the outside to try to complete you on the inside, when the reality and the thing they don't want you to see is when you turn the mirror back on yourself, you recognize that you're already whole. You already have everything that you've been searching for. And once you recognize that fully within yourself, you begin attracting things, situations, people that are also on that same frequency of wholeness. So with that, I hope you learned something today. Wholeness and balance vibrations to you all. And until next time, thanks for watching. Take care.